One of the things that I think it seems particularly painful since you resigned, and not just for you, but I just think for people that believe in the causes that you're fighting for, is that you were, in the opinion of many people, including myself, a really effective, hardworking senator. Now you're on the sidelines, and we are having hearings that are affecting the course of our republic, and you were very effective in hearings.
Yep.
You really were. I mean, when you were questioning Jeff Sessions, you ended up getting him to recuse himself, which ended up changing the course of the entire Russia investigation.
He lied to me, and
he lied to you specifically in what way? I mean, I know that
news
people know, but I just want to bring everyone
I
up
was
to speed.
basically asking him if anybody on your campaign, on the Trump campaign, had met with Russians, would you recuse yourself in this? And he said, well, I know I haven't met with any Russians. And he met with the ambassador from Russia 3 times during that, including at the Republican convention.
Right.
And including in his office. And, you know, it wasn't like I don't remember meeting him.
Right.
So he was almost, if you read the Mueller report, he was almost charged with perjury. But he said that he was confused.
His defense
by the question.
His defense was that your question confused him.
Yes.
Seems like a pretty straightforward question.
Well, you know, he was the #1 law enforcement officer in the country.
Yeah.
And I confused him. You know, and
that's a superpower.
Well, I think that speaks to my effectiveness.
Yes,
the #1.
Yeah. You're just, I'm getting confused now. You're just, I don't know who I am or where I am. What's it like now to be you and you're watching these hearings, what could end up being impeachment hearings, where I think you'd be a very effective questioner. Do you find yourself yelling at the screen because you have an idea for the right question and the person on the screen, whether is not asking that question?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that happens. Sometimes I have emailed my colleagues during a hearing and said, this might be good. And, you know, it is very frustrating. And now, I mean, listen, everyone's frustrated by this time in our country's history. And what has happened in the last couple days is unbelievable. We have a president, we've seen what he said, basically telling a foreign leader, you're not going to get what you need in terms of tanks unless you dig up dirt about my opponent. I mean, this is having a foreign country interfere in our elections, which sounds familiar, you know, and you would think that after spending the last 2.5 years defending himself against kind of that charge, that he wouldn't do something like this. And I don't know what it is. You remember, like a couple months ago, he told George Stephanopoulos asked him, if someone from foreign power came to you with some dirt about your opponent, would you take it? And he went, yeah. I think everybody would.
Yeah.
And no, everybody wouldn't.
In fact, there's a little bit of a precedent.
Well, Al Gore in 2000, the Gore campaign received George W. Bush's debate book. Now, that's pretty valuable, but they didn't open it, and they gave it to the FBI because you're running for president of the United States.
Right.
And we want the president of the United States to be someone that we can respect. And I think people it's hard for people right now under this guy. It really is just weird.
Why do you think Trump, why do you think they released the transcript? Why do you think the White House released the transcript? Because my assumption was, and this is not my world, and I'm not smart in this area, but my overall assumption was they can stonewall anything. They can just, that transcript will never come out. And the transcript is fairly damning. Why would they release it?
It's very damning. I think Trump just thought, like, I get away with this. What? You can't bribe a foreign power to get dirt about your opponent? Oh, come on.
Right.
When Stephanopoulos said, you don't do that, he said, oh, everybody would do it.
Right.
So I'm sure he's just going like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
And then Gore, he'd say, well, Gore lost. See? that proves my point. You see? I'm smarter than you.
Yeah.
I'm the smartest person in the world.
Yeah.
And this one is, today they got to the total House members that will say they'll vote to impeach.
Right.
And, the Mueller report had plenty in it, believe me, to do that. Just the number of counts of obstruction of justice. And it looks like Attorney General Barr may be mixed up in this, and on reporting on when he reported on the Mueller report, he didn't tell the truth.
Right.
So it's just an ugly time.
Yeah. It's interesting to be in late night television now. A lot of my colleagues who are really brilliant and they're really good at it, they're very good at making a lot of hay about this political stuff, and we do some of it, but I have to say I would rather do the green car ad these days because the other, Trump stuff just makes me sad.